I had the pleasure of reading and studying all 34 cantos of Dante Alighieri's Inferno, translated by Alan Mandelbaum, the first of the three parts of the Divine Comedy. This is purely my own take. I haven't watched or read any other modern commentaries yet. Let me tell you something. This Dante guy has a real set of balls. He makes himself the main character of his own epic. Has the great classical poets, Homer and company, welcome him into their circle as one of their own. And he name drops like 50 fucking people, including the Pope of his day, whom he sticks in the 8th circle, which is fraud. He even puts Muhammad in the same circle. And interestingly, the canto study I was following basically refused to mention that last detail. So I'm starting to see why we never got this in high school. So Dante was in exile. It was originally supposed to be 2 years, but because he didn't appear in court to pay a fine, he was sentenced to death in absentia. He couldn't go home without being executed, so he basically wrote this as a giant fuck you to the people who had ruined his life. So, when you got nothing left to lose, why the fuck not? He wrote it in the Florentine vernacular instead of Latin. Pretty unusual for the time, so that meant any ordinary citizen could actually read it, not just the educated elite. And he is one of the main reasons in being credited as the father of the Italian language. So it's not pure rebellion. He puts people he respects in hell too. So most notably his real life mentor Brunetto Latini. So he's placed among the sodomites, and it's kind of hinted that he was a homosexual. Virgil, the author of the Aeneid. So this is his guide through the whole journey through hell. So he is also in hell because he existed just before Christianity. But he is in the first layer of hell, so that's limbo. So he's not exactly being punished, but this is also the same place where unbaptized babies live and cry forever. There's a surprising amount of Greek mythology and classical creatures mixed in. You can clearly see the influence of older epics. So this is something I had no clue about going in. Thankfully, I did recognize a lot of the names from the Odyssey, such as Sinon, who was in the fraud circle of hell after tricking the Trojans into taking the Trojan horse, as well as real-life figures like Brutus, who is in the 9th and final circle of hell, known as treachery for betraying Julius Caesar. He's literally being eaten alive by Satan, which is quite an image he puts in there. And, if I'm being a little cynical, so the whole thing feels like extremely high-level fan fiction dressed up as rebellious political allegory. Dante openly scoffs at the Florentines he packs into his version of hell. But still, I can't help but feel I should root for the author. The sheer self-belief, the way he literally manifests his own greatness, is obviously aged incredibly well, because we are still talking about this poem, which is from the 14th century. I'd love to know the real-time reaction of his political opponents. There's no question it would have caused outrage and struck a nerve at the time. But, also uncynically, because I am an optimistic person, at least with art. And I absolutely see why this is considered a masterpiece. I mean, I learned a bit about myself reading it. You read some of the sins and the stories of the people there, and you kind of, it makes you want to be a better person for sure, even though this is not a completely accurate depiction of hell. In fact, hell is it's very simplified in the Bible. It's a bit more scarier, I would say, than what's being described here, which is pretty terrifying if you're into that. But yes, I see why this is considered a masterpiece for sure. So, what did I learn? Well, you can turn bitterness into art, and personally, I really like that he had a muse in Beatrice. She was a lasting source of creative inspiration for him, and I think every creative person benefits from having someone or something that pushes them to improve both themselves and their work. And that is my take. Now, I'm going to read you my favorite lines from Canto 18.
This was the place we reached, the ditch beneath. Hell, people plunged in excrement that seemed as if it had been poured from human privies. And while my eyes searched that abysmal sight, I saw one with a head so smeared with shit. One could not see if he were lay or cleric. He fucking